Cameraman Grades, cameramangrades.com. Professional consultations for camera operators, video coordinators, and sports video professionals at all levels. Find us at cameramangrades.com or contact us directly at cameramangrades@gmail.com for your own sports video consultation. Today we are taking a look at Minnesota St. John's, a Division III team, in preparation for my time in Minnesota at the Football Film Federation Conference at the end of April. Highly recommend that if anybody's interested in learning more about filming football and the right way to do it, talking to people who are doing it and doing excellent work at it. It's a great opportunity to learn from the best and to network and find people, like-minded people that are looking to improve sports video across the board. So without further ado, let's get started. Minnesota St. John's versus Minnesota St. Olaf, Division III teams. Okay. Well, just to start here, let's kind of back it up. Play one. All right, nice and tight setup. Not a lot of extraneous movements. Looks good. Play two. All right, I like the setup. Okay. So right here, you can back it up just a tad. We're going to lose the safety on this side, and then we gain space because this receiver moves downfield. So at that point, you just bring the camera over the edge of the camera so that you gain space where the safety is backing up, and then you lose the space here, the additional space behind the quarterback. All right. In this case, we lost the safety, so we want to keep the safety in the shot. He does come back into it. All right. Well, let's go back and see that again. Okay. Same thing here. The receiver is vacating that space so you can come over. Overall, looks really good. Okay, you can see the difference here between the Division III stadiums versus the NFL stadiums. There's a whole lot more wiggle room in your zooming. You can really be a whole lot more flexible with it, but you still gotta keep up with everybody just the same way. And they're doing a really good job at it. This is, what I would consider to be as good as any of the NFL teams that I've seen so far. Controls are a little different from the NFL games. Okay, so here you're either keeping this guy in the shot or you're not, right? He kind of runs off the screen and then zooming out to pick him up. It's a run play, so they're just kind of running that guy off the out of the way anyway. This guy's got to cover him, so the farther he can run, the less he's going to be involved. Instead of trying to block him right here at the point of impact, you got the run coming this way, so they just kind of vacate that space, which is fine. You can drop him, right? But then coming here to to see the rest of the play at that point. Okay. This looks good. All right, play 7. All All right, well, I'm expecting these two guys to vacate this space. The running back's going to go there, so we can really kind of cut this down all the way to this point and go to that 2/3. Once the receiver, both receivers and the running back move out of that space, the only person in that 1/3 is going to be the quarterback, and possibly the defenders coming around this way, right? But that's it. So you can bring this over and cut it down to the back side of the quarterback. Right, and you can see the defender did not loop around. He came flat down the line. So that quarterback now is actually filling the entirety of that space. Okay, I jumped ahead here. Sorry, the controls are a little different compared to what I've been using previously. All right. Play 7. Okay. So, right there, right? Now this quarterback is the only person in this 33% of the field. And at that point, you can bring all this over and tighten all this up. All right? Because it's a run play, everybody's running to the same location. Jumping ahead on me again. Everyone's running, to the ball carrier right there. So at that point, you can start to tighten up in that direction. Okay. So yeah, the actual players in the play at this point, you can drop the quarterback, right? He's done his job at this point. The actual people that are in this play really only take up about 65% of the frame. Okay. Play 8. Okay. So there was just a slight zoom out here, whereas on a run play like this, there's nobody pressing the edges, there's nobody coming in, everybody's condensing to this one spot. Again, bringing up the box, this was at 65% before. Everybody's in that range. So you can start to zoom in, before the play's over, you can really start to tighten it up based on how the play is going at this point. But on the whole, not bad. Play 9. Okay, so it looks like we're only seeing one side of the ball here. It's not a full game. It's just the defense. St. John's defense against St. Olaf. Alright. So, to start, we're within 5 yards here, within 5 yards here. It's pretty tight. Okay, I was really kind of moving up tight. Wow, he's really making a play on that ball. That's the same guy I was pointing at before there. Alright, so interesting. It is a pass. People are spreading the edges, so you're moving top to bottom. This receiver is actually going to start pressing this edge on the bottom of the screen here. So yeah, zooming out makes sense at that point. It was a pretty quick play there. All right, nice job. Okay, play 10. This is a cut down version. I think this is a little quicker than the original, because I had cut out all the end zone shots. So only seeing the sideline press box shots. All right, so the safety is dropping out on this side, and we've got the ref on this side, right? I'd rather see the safety than the ref, so at that point, keep the safety, drop the ref, move this all over. That gives you plenty of space on this side, and it's an easy, quick fix to be able to see the footwork of your safety, which I'm sure he appreciates, and I'm sure the coaches appreciate as well. All right. Play 11. All right. Got a lot of space behind the quarterback. We're, kind of getting into that same territory where the quarterback becomes the 1/3, is just for the quarterback, right? If we can cut that down, then that's opens up a lot of space for your safety on the other side again. Oh, so the quarterback fills that frame, and this is a nice tight shot, right? So I love that the filmer recognized that there was no reason for zooming out or making any knee-jerk decisions. That's fantastic. All right, play 12. Okay. So again, all this extra space, as these people vacate, we can bring this over. Let's see if that happens here. Yeah, a little bit. And there wasn't any reason to zoom out. The safety ran forward, almost like they called that play, right? Safety sees it coming a mile away, right? He's not backing up. He's just running straight forward. Fantastic. Play 13. Okay. So here, the safety's really pressing the edge. Right there. He's actually put a foot on the edge of the play while we've got 10 yards behind, the quarterback on this side. At that point, that's where I'm saying that right to left movement it just frees up all the space in the world that you want the defense to be able to. The ball's going to be heading towards the defense, right? In 99% of the plays. So by doing that, now we still got that 1/3 of the screen is just completely empty at this point. So you can tighten it up and you can move right to left to free up that space. All right. Okay, safety left. All right, so this time we got a little tighter than we have been, and the tight formation and the tight setup, as everybody spread out all over again, started running different directions, you lost a safety and the running back coming out of the backfield. All right, so if you can just loosen it up a little bit, keep a little bit of a buffer, or just zoom out faster, right? Expecting that this is a possibility. The safety is kind of the tell here. You can see that the safety's backing up before the play starts. He sees it coming, right? They practice this all week long, so he knows that they've got the pass set coming out of that, and so just be prepared for it. When we're not prepared for the release of all this kinetic energy, all the potential energy at the snap of the ball, all of a sudden everybody starts going in every direction as soon as the ball's snapped. You just have to release your setup with it, and you've got a good setup. It's nice and tight. You just got to release yourself from that, and then just flow with everybody going in every direction. Okay. So here the safety jumps back real quick off the screen and loses him for just a second, and then the only option you have is to zoom out, unless you would be willing to move the camera tighter on this side here. You can give yourself a little more space to that right side. So zooming out makes sense, but then now you're gaining more space here before you even get to the safety, right? Just left to right movement. And then zooming out more and more, now we're back to that empty third, right, where the quarterback's at. All right. And then once we get here, because we had to kind of zoom out faster than expected, now we're in a nice, real tight set here. If you were to bring this in, it's going to be less than 50% of your screen. Yep. Okay. Here's the 50% line, and really it's a quarter of your screen is actual football. Still pretty tight. There's a couple guys up here if you want to include them. Okay. All right. Play 16. Okay. Good off the snap. Good response to what's happening there. People pressing the edges. Went out a little far. Okay, it was zoomed out a little farther than expected there, or a little farther than necessary. All right. So that puts it into here again. Okay. So what you can do there, off the snap right about here, is as far as wide out as you need to go, because it's run recognition. You're seeing that this is a run. People are not running, go routes down the field, right? Everybody's kind of condensing back into the play. Right? The defenders start running back in. The receivers try to get in front of them to block that defender, and it all condenses down pretty quick. So as soon as you recognize that it's a run, you can stop zooming out, and then it'll give you a much tighter view of that run overall. Okay, so here we are. Ball snapped. We get to the point where the quarterback's releasing the pass, and we've got all 22 perfectly framed up. We got less than 5 yards here, less than 5 yards here. All right, receiver's running off the edge here. The ball is thrown. All right. At the point that the ball is released, we really want to go and focus on where the receiver is going to. So that makes sense to drop out a player. I do like to see the receiver for a little while longer, just another second before you start to zoom back in on that. All right. Okay, receiver stepped off. That's no play. Okay, we got space here, no space here. If the receiver was backing up, that could be a point where he steps off again. But he bit hard in this direction, right? And now we've got a defender on the far side taking that edge, and he went off the edge. Okay, so at that point, I would want to release with him. I want to be able to see that defender go out even farther, and that's the point where you do need to zoom out wide, right? Not on runs, right? On runs you can stay tight, right? Just like this. Okay. All right, play 21. Nice tight setup within 5 yards, both sides. All right, this is run all the way, right? You can see that the deepest defenders just start running up. They're all just running straight forward. Didn't back up at all, which, the only person backing up here is the filmer, right? So we're getting into less than 50%. Quarterback, we're not really considering him at this point. He's already handed off the ball and he's just standing there, right? I give up the quarterback on this and focus on who's in the box. Less than 50%. Okay. Okay. Nice. Awesome. All right, so I really like this. This is a really good play. Filmer does a great job of coming out. This is kind of an interesting play because it's a pitch pass, right? So the quarterback's got the ball. He pitches it out to the running back, who's, at this point, a lot of times people would be biting up on this and zooming up on it like it was a run, right? But the filmer doesn't bite. They see it coming all day long, and this is going to the receiver. And so what I really like about this is that they're keeping everything in relation to where they're at on the field, right? They doesn't just move over and put the center of the screen on the ball. Everybody's here, and then even after he catches the ball, he still doesn't. The filmer still doesn't decide to center that player, right? They're still in the bottom right corner of the frame, and they continue to be in the bottom right corner of the frame for a good portion of the video, basically right up until the end. So I really, really like that. That was, one of the best plays I've seen so far. Okay. So this is at the setup, right? Within 5 yards to each side. Farthest player to each side within 5 yards. That's good. All right, and then they allow the players to fill that frame, right? There was no movement before we got to this point. All these things happened within what was already framed up, so you don't have to make any adjustments. This looks really good. If you can keep this in the frame and allow this quarterback to make the throw and hit it, it's going to look really good. Oh, it's so close. Okay. Receiver stepped off for just a second. That's pretty good, though. This is really good framing. All right, play 24. Again, excellent framing to start. Nice tight setup, run recognition. Okay, you can see the difference in the run recognition. As soon as that run hits, this safety is changing directions very, very quickly. And now you've got all this empty space, right? So if you can just see it earlier, you can avoid that space and then start to bring it in, start to tighten everything up, because that's where the players are going to be. Excellent work, though. Awesome. I love this. So the receiver is on the far left, and then the quarterback takes that spot. Right? No movement, no camera movements, no knee-jerk reactions. Everything is right there. If it's already framed up, you did the right thing to start, and you don't have to make any adjustments. That's awesome. Okay. Minor critique here. I'm kind of going back to the same thing. If you can cut this space down behind the quarterback, the majority of players are going to be going towards the defense. There are times when you have to, reverse course, but that's usually, the offense is having a bad time on a play like that. So your safety is pressing the edge here, and you've got an extra 5 yards behind the quarterback. Let's cut that down and give your safety more space to see what they're doing back there. but all looks good. All right. Run recognition. When you're at a location, filming location that's this low to the ground, you really don't need to do much zooming out. It's going to condense pretty quick because you're right on top of stuff. And so in that way you can recognize it sooner and just start to come in. But this looks really good. Excellent. So you can see on this last play 28, right? The run recognition is much faster. There was just a slight zoom out and then zoom right back in. That's kind of where we want to be. All right, play 29. Go in the other direction. All right, you see the right to left movement, right? They're seeing it. The filmer's seeing it. Play 29. So we start at the 30, the edge of the 30 here, and then immediately, as soon as the ball is snapped, moving right to left. Because of that, you don't really need to zoom out, and when you do zoom out, everybody gets much smaller on the screen. Right? And so we're back to this tiny frame, right? You can really recognize that run much quicker right here, and keep this frame, right? And now from this point forward, you're going to see all these people condense on the ball carrier. And so at that point, that's where you start to zoom up in this range. Okay? But not bad. I don't mind being out a little wider as opposed to a knee-jerk reaction, right? I don't want to see, oh, it's a run, and then you just zoom in as quickly as possible. That's almost as jarring, even if you're doing it well. If you're doing it as quickly as possible, it's that much harder to watch, right? Sometimes doing nothing is the better option. All right, so here we got a lot of empty space at the bottom, and we're cutting off heads across the top. It's an easy fix. It's a minor thing, but not bad. Framing wise, it looked really good. All right, as far as right to left and keeping everybody in the shot and not zooming out any farther. All right, within 5 yards on the sides, both sides, and then not zooming out any farther than that. That's excellent. Play 32. Okay. All right. So going back to this, what are we expecting this player to do? Completely vacate this side, and this entire edge should be able to come to the back of the running back there, unless the quarterback rolls out, right? If he drops back into this space and sets up for a pass, that's about a typical quarterback drop, right? Nope, it's a handoff, and you can see the difference, right? There you go. Run recognition, saw that it was a handoff and started to zoom in on it. All right. The right to left, again, safety's hitting this edge while we have all this extra space. Use the extra space, but put it over on the other side. And then start to zoom in. Nice. Play 33. Okay, there's the rollout. Oh, look at that. Just like it, just like we drew it up, right? Okay, so same play, exact same idea as the last play, right? Instead of handing it off, instead of being under center, he's in shotgun or pistol, and instead of handing it off, he rolls out. And so now he's coming this direction, and the filmer saw it coming a mile away. Love it. Absolutely fantastic. Okay, coming right to left, and that receiver ends up getting the ball right there. There is somebody that swings out into this area, so they don't move over all the way to the edge. They recognize it, they see it, and they see all of these patterns happening. And this is a fantastic shot. Awesome. All right, play 35. Check something here real quick. Okay. Make sure you can see that play 35 there at the bottom. There you go. A little better. There. Let's put it there. All right. Play 35. Great. Okay. Awesome. Nice job. Okay. Safety hit the edge there. Not bad though. Oh. Okay, let's see if I can get back to the start of this play. Yep. Play 36. Okay, play 36. So, this guy's going to vacate. They're going to come over to this edge. They don't necessarily make that the first move. They zoom out instead. Zooming out, you're gaining more space to the right, and it just doesn't go as fast as this safety needs at times. This safety should be dropping back at roughly the same speed as this receiver moving downfield, so it's just a right to left pan is the right way to do it. All right, and then look at that. That defender just kind of gobbled up the quarterback. All right, play 37. Okay, looks good. Play 38. Let's get back to the beginning here. Play 38. Okay. Framing, you're really close to, 5 yards there. Obviously within 5 yards on this side. So too much farther, and they're going to be, a little wider than a really tight set. All right. I do see that right to left movement. So the idea is there. The filmer's seeing it. It's just more the recognizing that that's going to be almost every time, right? It's going to be 99% consistent that you're going to just come over to start on formations like that, because you're lower to the field than some of the higher filming locations. You're not looking straight down on it. You're seeing these formations on kind of on an angle, right? I gotta go find play 38. All these formations are on an angle. So sometimes if the ball's on the far hash, right, and then you've got receivers on this side, you've got a wide stretch of field that is gonna all be heading this direction. So that's where you can condense that down, right? And just to take a look at it, yep, quarterback is in that 1/3, right? All by himself. If he's going to be there, might as well bring the camera over to him or cut him out completely at this point. But again, nice, consistent filming. Play 39. Okay. Looks good. Okay. Yeah, that right to left movement made a big difference on this, right? It was enough to keep this safety in the shot. And then look at that. Now we're condensing onto this side. All right. At this point, you don't have to zoom out any farther. Zoom back in. Looks good. Really good. 41. Okay. All right. So there is some zooming out here. Indiscriminate zooming, right? So not bad. Just very subtle. But there's no reason for it, right? It's a run play going the opposite direction from the field. Everybody's moving away from your camera. As things go farther away, you have to zoom up on it, right? To keep it consistent. All right. Play 42. Looks good. Play 43. Yeah. Yeah, I really feel like this filmer has gotten, got the gist of it at this point. That side-to-side movement seems to be very consistent each play here. Play 45. All right. This is a run play all the way. Zooming out isn't going to help. Right? That's where the run recognition, play recognition of any kind, whether it's play action or what, there's nobody pressing the edges, so at this point zooming out isn't helping. Zooming back in, all 22 guys right here in the shot. Right? There's nobody that got dropped out of this shot. Everybody condenses and everybody stays in the frame. And right there, I see every single number of every player here. Looks really good. Okay. Play 46. Yeah, within 5 yards each direction. That's tight framing. To keep up with an entire play within 5 yards in each direction is, it's a challenge. It's a feat. Not everybody's doing it, and the people that are doing it are showing their team in a really great way for evaluating. All right, so this one, all right, you can see the reaction that takes place when somebody runs off screen. Now you zoom out to make sure you pick them up, but because you no longer saw them, you didn't know how far you have to zoom out. So then you go to zoom, and now you're out farther than you normally would be, right? So this is where the box helps to kind of see where that how far off we would be from a 100% filling the screen, and how far off we got from where we originally started. We're less than 70% at this point. Okay, but if we go back to the start, this framing closer to 90%, 85%, right? So if you can stay consistent with that, you can even just kind of go out to here and just leave that extra space behind the running back and leave a little bit of space behind the safety on this side, right? So you could be at 90% fairly easily, and that's a good looking frame if you can keep that consistent throughout the entire play. Right. So yeah, you got to just recognize that this is one of the options that this back has, is to swing out into the flats there. You know, he's swinging out, and ball goes to him and heads that direction. Interesting. Okay, going back to as the play goes away from you, you know, you have to zoom in to keep consistent framing. If if everybody's moving that direction, zooming out is, you know, going the opposite way. You want to be zooming in and be right about there. That should be perfect. Okay. $50. All right, so now we don't have that tight formation anymore. They spread one guy out all the way to this side. Completely changes your framing, right? And completely changes their play options. Again, your receiver moves off the screen, so then when you go to find him again, you don't know how far to go, and now we're zooming out way more than we need to, right? Leaving all this extra space. If we had kept him in there, we would have been able to just kind of see him all the way through the play, and he made a good move there too. And then you see the guy coming underneath, and he's obviously going to score a touchdown, and that's awesome. Okay, this similar situation, the receiver runs off the edge here, but I don't mind it on a run play because, you know, that's their job, and this is really where the meat of it is. This defender does get back into the play, he's kind of jogging behind the play, so I'm not really worried about him. I'm interested in the guys who are making the tackle. Yeah. You know, actually, that last play was excellent. You know, it was everything you'd want to see in a play, on a run play like that. Tightening it up and going from there. So, all right. So here, at the snap of the ball, you don't know if this is going to be, pulling it back and throwing it. And so you do need to keep this safety in the play to see how they're going to respond. Right? He does run off the frame for just a second. And again, once he runs off the frame, the zoom out happens, and now we're out wider than we would want to. I'd rather invert that and zoom out to start, keep him in it for longer, and then zoom back in once you recognize it's a run. Play 53. Okay. So this is formational, right? Because the formation is what it is, just in this setup, you're not gonna be zooming out, right? As this all comes over, this is all gonna start to move into this space. There's nobody over here, so this isn't gonna be pressing this edge, and this guy's not gonna be pressing this edge because I can see everywhere that this particular athlete can run to, right? The only person that could be pressing this edge is a tight end, or if the back, comes out here, or if the quarterback rolls out that way. But you'll see all of those things happening plain as day right in front of your face, right? So here, there's no reason to zoom out. You just leave it tight. And it's run anyway, so, as soon as you recognize the run, you can start to zoom in because that's where everybody's going. All right. Play 54. Yep. Left to right movement. Awesome. Play 55. Nice tight framing. This was 2 yards here, 1 yard, 3 yards here, so 5 yards total. Awesome. And then look at that. No reason to move the camera, so they didn't. I love it. That's, setting it up correctly and then just allowing the play to happen from an evaluation standpoint. as a coach, as a player, I can watch everything happen exactly the way it needs to, and I don't have to, stop to think, oh, hold on a second, we just zoomed out. Where did I go? I was just there, and now I'm not, right? Now all these players, they don't know where they're at, but it's the end of the play anyway, so it doesn't matter. But if that were to happen in the middle of the play, I was like, wait a second, I was just right here on the frame, and now I can't find myself. All right, we got to be getting close to the end here. That play right there, that last play on play 55 was one of my favorites. Play 56. Yep, same thing. No reason to adjust anything, so don't. Leave it right where it's at. That's it. Awesome. Nice. Excellent work. I really, really liked that. I was really impressed with what I saw there. So, great job for the St. John's, Minnesota filmer there. I was really impressed with a lot of the things I saw. Obviously, there were times where you could see the things that I was saying playing out exactly like that on film. So they were doing a lot of things really, really well. Overall, there were 55 plays that I saw in here. 45 of them were positive. Still 10 plays that they could have, brushed up on. A couple guys ran off the screen. That happened 6 times. And then a couple times where they were just zoomed out wider than they needed to be. That happened 4 times. So aside from that, really overall positive. 82% positive, with 44% of the plays were excellent. So they get a little bit of a bonus. It puts them to 86.18%. Great job. Congratulations to the St. John filmer, and best of luck.